Expectations
for less than a decade.
generally right now are quick fix. We are in a time where everything is moving so quickly, and the delayed gratification that our parents and grandparents understood, this generation has a harder time with. And so we have to manage expectations, and there is no quick silver bullet that's going to fix the economy. We're going to just have to work hard every single day to bring it back. But after 26 months moving in the right direction, that's no accident. That's a great deal of progress. But we still have a long way to go, and there's still too many families who are struggling. And so I think that's why you see that some of that initial enthusiasm before we fully appreciated, and when I say we, I mean everybody from all spectrums appreciated the magnitude of that deep, deep recession. Once it sunk in, of course it was painful, of course it was frustrating for so many people.
With what had happened, and I began to recover at a rapid rate at that point. As I gained control over my own mind again and had free thought and free will and soul expression, I was strongly motivated to speak out on what I had learned, not out of vengeance, not out of anything negative like that. Negativity is so immobilizing. Instead, it was love for humanity. It was love for my daughter and her need for help. It was compassion. Those were the motives for me to speak out. And yet, as soon as I had deprogrammed, I had been following orders all of my life. And to learn to think for myself beyond what I had been told was a new process. It was really difficult. And thinking was like, it was like my brain would fall off into a black hole, and I just couldn't quite get there to make a decision for myself or to think for myself. And it took brain exercises where I began to expand my thinking, to consider other angles, other possibilities, other perceptions, to look at other aspects.
How do you explain that?
Well, simply, we have been through an extraordinary crisis. People's lives have been turned upside down. People who hadn't had job security for a very long time are even further behind. And this disaster in the economy touched almost every household around our country. And we're not used to that. We'd had some really good years under our belt, many of us. And so it's been a tumultuous time. And if you look at our nation's history, any time we've been through a tumultuous time, it is normal for people to be frustrated and concerned and wondering, what does the future hold? And I think that part of what the President has and will be talking about is his vision for the future. Because the other thing about our history is that we are resilient, we are tough, we are tenacious. And out of these troubled times inevitably comes creativity and entrepreneurship. And the role of government is to foster that, and so that it can be unleashed. Because that's what has to happen if we're going to be globally competitive. We're no longer competing state to state. When I worked in city government in Chicago, Illinois would be competing against Michigan or Ohio to try to get companies to relocate. In fact, one company relocated from Chicago to Ohio. I wasn't too happy about that. When I was in the city, that's not the competition anymore. The competition, and the governors from around the country and the mayors will tell you, you're competing with all over the world, because companies have great choices now. They can locate anywhere. And that's why it was so heartening when we had a forum at the White House where we invited a whole range of companies, small, medium, and large. My own 26-year-old who a year ago came on my insurance for a few months. Change is the senior citizens who so far have saved $3.4 billion, or an average of $600 apiece in prescription drugs, just since the law passed. Change is a health system that requires insurance companies to provide preventive services such as mammograms and prostate screening and screening for high blood pressure and heart disease, and yes,
in order to begin to learn the truth. And truth is so discernible because of the strength of spirit that I had regained. It's essential that we all gain our strength of spirit in order to be able to grasp the truth And the same truth that made me free can make anyone free.
Then we'll have to see where it goes. And as the president joked at the correspondence dinner, perhaps he'll just have to go back and pass it again. But we're hoping it doesn't come to that. We're hoping that we will prevail. But I can assure you that there are a lot of very smart people who are looking at a range of options so that we're prepared. There is
From any level of abuse and any level of misinformation, disinformation, or limited information, so that we can have a firm grasp on what's really going on. With that strength of spirit becomes an ability to have an inner peace. And that inner peace is essential for making a positive difference in our own environment and within our own self. And by having the strength of spirit and peace within, that is the first step towards world peace. How can we have world peace if we don't have any peace within? How can we know truth if we're fearful because we're ignorant? We've got to be able to learn to have our strength of spirit, to trust in the power of love, to grasp the truth, and realize that indeed it is truth that makes us free. So please, I encourage each and every one of you to go out into your own areas of life and among those that you love in your own families and raise that awareness and give them that thread of truth and give it with love, because love is the most powerful force in the universe, and it empowers people to have the strength of spirit to stand and make a positive difference for all of us. We need it today.
Everybody got united behind President Obama, or virtually everybody, and got him elected and saved us from going over the cliff. But since then, it seems to have dissipated so strongly that we have become such a divisive society.